Glad everybody could make it today. What I'm going to say is it's kind of interesting. When I first came here to work here, which was 27 years ago, the thing that Coach Signetti and the coaches impressed upon me was you would not believe the guys that have worn the jersey with how much they care about this program. And I kind of took it, with a grain of salt. Every other school I went to go coach, they say the same thing. And to really make it sound real, we had a game, I think, a couple years ago here honoring the Boardwalk Bowl, and I believe there was like 47 players here from the 68 Boardwalk Bowl team. So, they really do want to give back, and every time since I've been the head coach here since 2017, and I hear about some different fundraising initiatives, et cetera, most of the time it involves somebody, Jerry, and really Jerry spearheaded it, which is really great because, Wally's a fundraiser. I'm a football coach that has to fundraise. It's not like the greatest job in the world, okay? Football coaching is, but not fundraising. So for guys to do the work that Jerry and some of the other Boardwalk Bowl members do, to really put a stake in the ground for IUP football when they really don't have to. That's truly, we try to impress upon our players and my own kids about, you're going to get to a point where when you leave a school or whatever job you leave, you're expected to give back. And I think the Boardwalk Bowl team has probably given back more than any team that's ever been here. And believe me, we have great football alumni. I mean, throughout, younger guys, older guys, most of them have been on championship teams with our tradition. And, it's a lot easier fundraising here than it is a lot of other places because of our success. And you don't have the success without the fundraising dollars. It's kind of that simple. So, from myself and from our football team, our players, Jerry's going to speak to the team here in a little bit before we go out for the scrimmage. Thank you for all you've done. You've been great to me since I've become the head coach. Really, all the Boardwalk Bowl members have been terrific, just like, most of our football alumni. But this is basically saying, really appreciate what you do, okay? And we're very thankful of it, Jerry. Thanks.
So Jerry, who's orchestrated a lot of this stuff, and I stepped in after Wally retired and had many conversations with him to talk about the things and the creativity. He just came up with that little scrimmage for the players for this with the first quarter, spending hours and hours and hours, countless hours of time and devotion to a program that he's passionate about. And I believe the Boardwalk Bowl is the only team endowment, am I correct in saying that? The only team endowment that we have so far through the program. So Jerry's been extremely instrumental in that. So just as a small token of our appreciation for everything that he's done and continues to do, and I'm sure he's not done by any stretch of the imagination, but we would certainly like to, Jerry, come on up here, please. Coach, come on up.
This wasn't in the program.
No, we hit this from you.
So this is just to let you know how much we appreciate everything that you've done and all your hard work and effort, and everything doesn't go unnoticed. And everybody here wanted to make sure that you were properly recognized for everything that you've done. So thank you so much.
That's phenomenal.
And the impact that you have is endless, and keep up the good job.
Thanks, Dave. Well, that throws my program off the wheels as to where it was going to go from initially. But, when you get a recognition like that, when you play football, in most team sports, but football especially, it seems, because the physicality and the mental toughness you have to have and the discipline you have to have and the brotherhood you have to have are very important. So when you have a teammate say, good job, it sounds kind of simple and straightforward, but it means a lot to a player. Back in the 60s, I know guys right now, when they get excited, they chest bump. Back in the 60s, we used to pat each other in the ass when we come off the field, Good job, good job, good job. And there's no greater accolade than getting a recognition by your teammate. I played defense, and it seemed like defense was a little more emotionally passionate because you had the offense had to be kind of disciplined in what they do, but the defense, I mean, you can run all over the place like Bobby Tate did. And, Bobby Tate was the captain of the team, and Bobby always had these white pads on each forearm. So back in the '60s, the game film was kind of grainy, but you always saw those white pads come flying through that game film, and you knew Bob was always in the area. But again, thank you very much for that, and again, appreciate people coming out and unveiling of a fantastic mural that you're going to see. That the idea behind this mural was, if you knew nothing about the Boardwalk Bowl, and you walk up to that mural, you would walk away with a knowledge of the era we played in, why we got in the Boardwalk Bowl, the '68 season, the players associated with that era, and the narrative how the game evolved. And I think I'll introduce Caitlin Goblek a little later, and Johnny Brennan from Fast Times, but the collaboration of those two to produce that mural, I think, is going to be something that IUP can be proud of. When someone walks down past those football offices and sees that, it's bold enough to be able to have them walk over and take a look at it. And hopefully they'll walk away with an understanding of what football was like back in the '60s. And we have an event like this, you always want to thank a lot of people, because a lot of people were involved in putting things together. Bob Strauss and I met in December of 2019 with Todd, the AD, and Todd was relatively new to IUP at that time, so we just brought a bunch of Boardwalk Bowl stuff and met with Todd for about an hour about what we feel would be helpful for the program and establishing a Boardwalk Bowl legacy that IUP alumni could be proud of, and players that come through the program would be proud of. And Todd embraced it in the moment. He took Bob and I over to the field house. He said, "This is where we're going to put it." He said, "Keep me abreast, give me the things that we need to do and get it done." And that was so helpful, because he just gave you a spark. That here's an AD that really wants to do something that you have a passion for, and it just motivated us to no end. So Todd, a special thanks to you to allowing us the opportunity to develop this mural. We have some players here today. I mentioned Bob Tate, his wife Brenda. We got Bob Strauss, his wife Sue. We got Bob Bayshire and his wife Kathy. Dale Hall is here tonight. Anybody I missed? Oh, good. And I'm sorry. We have Patty Clausing Simmons, who is the daughter of I have to always say this slowly because there's a lot to say. The College Hall of Fame coach from IUP, and you notice the Hall of Fame plaque back there was really fantastic. We had a chance to look at it. There aren't too many schools that have College Football Hall of Fame coaches. IUP was lucky enough to have Frank Segnetti and Coach Clausing. I don't think I've missed anybody, Tort, that has been a College Football Hall of Fame. And also I'm going to recognize some other people. Wally put a lot of accolades back on me at the beginning, which was nice, and I appreciate it. But I want to turn it around 180, because Wally's given me so much support. When I came to him with an idea, and Wally, from my consideration, I think anybody in the Boardwalk Bowl team considers you an honorary member of the Boardwalk Bowl team, because you've done so much. You were the quarterback executing our game plan. You were the lineman that did the grunt work in the back room when no one else knew you were doing things, and you would come up and you got things done. And that's what a lineman does. He doesn't get much recognition, but he gets the job done. And then you're like a running back. You took the game plan and executed it and took off. And I personally and Boardwalk Bowl team really appreciate you, because to get to this point without you being involved, it wouldn't have happened. It'll fall apart at some point along the way. But you had continued support from day one up at the IUP baseball field to where we're standing here today. And I have heartfelt thanks for you in doing that, Wally. Appreciate it. I'd like to give Wally thanks, Wally. And we got some lesser known characters here. Harrison Wick, who was the archivist. When we were trying to pull stuff together on the Boardwalk Bowl, we went to Harrison, and he was just like a catalyst. He just went everywhere looking for things. And as of late, I asked him 2 weeks ago, I says, do you know the Delaware archivist? Because I don't know how many people know this, but the Boardwalk Bowl tape, we got one half of it from looking through some old canisters here at IUP. We could not find, that was the second half, we couldn't find the first half. So we finally got a hold of some people, a couple of players at Delaware, and he said, yeah, we had a player that had a copy of it. But he only had a copy of, well, he had a copy of the first 2 quarters. Now we were down 10-0 in the first quarter with Delaware. In the last 9 minutes of that second quarter, we scored 3 touchdowns. You know what minutes are missing from that second quarter? Those last freaking 9 minutes. They purposely took the darn 3 touchdown passes. No, there were 3 touchdowns. 3 touchdowns, not passes, but 3 touchdowns out of there. And we've been searching ever since. And I asked Harrison, do you know the archivist? Let's make one more run at trying to find those missing 9 minutes, like the Nixon tapes. Anybody remember Nixon? The Nixon tapes. We just couldn't find them. And Harrison's still working on it. So one of these days I expect to call when I see you on my cell phone, Harrison Wick's calling. I know, don't call me unless you have those 9 minutes. Have I forgotten anybody on here? I think on thank yous. I think Betsy Lauber at the alumni office at the foundation office has been great. Dave Motti, fund development has been fantastic. Jen Dunsmore, no, she's not here, but she's been also very helpful from the alumni side. Well, let's now get to why we're here today for the gathering for the Boardwalk Bowl mural. When the cover comes off the mural, you're going to notice certain unique things. And I just want to go down over the things that you'll see on there. So when you approach the mural, you'll kind of be looking for them. The things that are unique to the '68 season and to the Boardwalk Bowl itself. In 1968, the Boardwalk Bowl succeeded the Tangerine Bowl as one of 4 NCAA regional championship games in the college division. At that time, there was a university division and a college division. There wasn't Division I, Division II, it wasn't one AA. There were 2 divisions, college division, university division. And the NCAA wanted to provide a postseason opportunity for the college division. So they did 4 regional championships. The Boardwalk Bowl was the Atlantic Coast Championship. And at that time, there was the UPI poll and the AP poll. And at the end of the season, similar to what the university division, after those postseason games were played, then the writers and the writers on the one poll and the coaches on the other poll then would elect the national champion before the playoff system came into in 1973. So that's the area that we worked in. And the Boardwalk Bowl showed the feasibility of playing football indoors and led promoters to seriously look at developing indoor facilities for football. The Boardwalk Bowl was the nation's first NCAA football championship game played indoors. Think about that. Out of all the divisions, out of all the major colleges, IUP played in the Boardwalk Bowl, which was the first NCAA championship game ever played indoors. It was for the Atlantic Coast Championship. We were the first IUP football team to attain national rankings in both the AP and the UPI poll. We finished the season ranked number 5 in the AP and number 13 in the UPI poll. And there's a ranking up there showed Dunkel ranking. Raise your hand if you ever heard of the Dunkel ranking. Ever heard that Dunkel ranking? The Dunkel ranking started in the 1920s. And what that did, no matter what division you were in, it had a mathematical formula to determine who were the best teams in each region of the country. And at that time, IUP, one of the first small colleges in that ranking in the East, was ranked number 11. Delaware was ranked number 13. And I think that's some of the impetus that they had to include both Delaware and IUP in that Boardwalk Bowl. So again, we're the first IUP team to have a national ranking. We're the first IUP football team to participate in an NCAA postseason game. Now, there's a lot of postseason games after that with playoffs and so forth, but there were only 4 postseason games in the '60s. We're the first IUP team to be telecast live on a national network. We were telecast regionally on ABC for that game. We're the first football team to be undefeated at 9-0. There were some teams in the 30s that were 6-0, but we're the first 9-0 undefeated team back in 1968. And of the 4 regional games, we had the highest attendance. We have over 11,000 in Convention Hall for the Boardwalk Bowl. And one unique aspect of the Boardwalk Bowl, if you stood in the 50-yard line when we went down there to practice, you looked down through the end line of one football field, and if you took 2 steps out of the end line, you're in the lobby. If you looked at the other end, is the stage that you see in the Convention Hall. You take 2 steps off of that end line, and you're going to meet the most fierce defender you've ever seen. He's going to stop you cold because that's the stage. And that was only 8 yards long. I don't know how they sanctioned a game where you only had one end zone, 8 yards, and you had another end zone being 10 yards. But that's how bad they wanted to play indoors. And of course, in December, anybody that went to that game, there was a huge snowstorm. And people that left that game, we flew back out of Philadelphia, and it was a bumpy ride. But I can't imagine going across Pennsylvania in December after a snowstorm in Atlantic City. But we had fans that came. I'll just mention one more thing about attendance. And people can't believe this when I tell them this, but we had our home side on where the visitor side is now, and stands ran from end line to end line, and they were tall. When we played Cal, we had 13,000 people in that stadium. Can you imagine that? 13,000 people in that stadium. At homecoming, we had 13,000 people. In a regular game, we'd have 8,000 people, 9,000 people. The enrollment at IUP at that time was like 6,500, 6,000. We had tremendous town support, tremendous support from the area associated with it. So that's what you're going to see on that mural. And speaking of that mural, I started at IUP's art department asking for suggestions on who could develop a mural. That led to one person. That person took on the task and then said somewhere along the line, I think I can't do this. So you've heard the saying, third time's a charm. Well, in this case, in the Boardwalk Bowl, the 4th time was the charm. Because I went through 3 graphic designers before I hit the absolute jackpot in Caitlin Goblick. And Caitlin and her husband, Andrew, and her mother, Tracy, is at the table there. And I just dumped a bunch of stuff on Caitlin. And I said, this is what we like to have in it. Can you put all this in here? Can you put this in here? And she just came back with idea after idea after idea. And Caitlin, I thank you so much for the time you put in, the patience you had with us and putting that stuff together. And you hit the ball out of the park. I guess that's more of a baseball term. But you really did a great job and really, really appreciate your help. And then the next challenge came, and how in the world do you take this computer design that Caitlin so fabulously did, and how do you put it on? All I can think of is paper. You print things on paper. Then I meet Johnny Brennan at Fast Times from the recommendation of Todd, and man, he just blew me away. Talk about putting it on acrylic and on plastic and doing all the kind of stuff. I said, how in the world do you do something like that? Well, I went down Monday and got a peek preview of it, and now I understand, Todd, why you sent me to Johnny. Because Johnny, you still here? Johnny, thanks a lot. Yeah, I mean, you made Caitlin's image come to life and jump off that mural, and I can't thank you enough for that. So that's about it. Any questions? Well, what we're going to have, Bob Tate was. We're going to move on to the unveiling of the mural. Bob Tate one of the captains, and Bob Strauss, who was so instrumental. Bob, the Bob to the second power, that was so instrumental in getting things together. I'm going to ask you and the other players to be around them when they take the cover off the Boardwalk ball. So I don't know how he gets from here to there, but that's our intent. Through that door. I don't know, we need a drum roll or what? How easy it comes off. Johnny, how easy does it come off?
Just take it over the top corners. Hold on the top corners if you could.
Top corners. Up there? Okay. Quite one help.
Just count of three.
Here we go.
2, 3.
Kaylin and Johnny, great job.
Very nice.
The intent is what I mentioned, to try to get the players, the background it has Bob's kick in that picture over there, and it shows the jubilation down below. And it shows the various timelines associated with it. So there's a narrative of the game, along with the recognition of the players, the rankings, the season, and so forth. And the donor wall was off to the left, and there are spots there for more people that want to donate. Good idea. Go ahead. The team picture photo, of course, Hall of Fame coach Chuck Clausing is elevated, and the environment that was existing in the 60s for postseason play, December 14th of '68, with the tickets to the game are elevated as an emphasis for those aspects associated with it. There's a full-page ad in Indiana Gazette from back in December of 1968. Travel agency offered bus ride to and from the Boardwalk Bowl, a ticket to the Boardwalk Bowl, and 2 nights at the Holiday Inn in December of 1968. That was a total cost of $38.50. So we're hoping the IUP alumni could be proud of this start of what's been a great football legacy to another level of the last 30, 40 years. And maybe someday a recruit will be impressed and stay, or you wouldn't do that. But Todd, appreciate the position you put it in. It's next to the trophy case.
Looks sharp. It's in great location. Yeah, looks good. Across from the championship ball.
There you go.